In 2003, $19 billion in physical U.S. cash was flown into Iraq and then completely vanished. No audits, no arrests, no explanations, just pallets of money shrink-wrapped and stacked, disappearing into the desert like a ghost. The story you're about to hear isn't a theory. It's a documented event that should have ignited global outrage. Instead, it was quietly buried, dismissed as the cost of war, and forgotten by a public too exhausted to ask the hard questions. But this wasn't a bookkeeping error. This was the largest physical cash transfer in human history, followed by the largest disappearance of money the world has ever seen. And the most disturbing part? This wasn't done by a rogue group or for an enemy. The entire operation was run under the oversight of the U.S. government itself. After the invasion of Iraq, the Coalition Provisional Authority, led by Paul Bremer, was handed full control over Iraq's finances. Bremer operated with near total autonomy, no real oversight, no congressional checks. And with that power, he oversaw the shipment of over 281 million physical banknotes, totaling nearly $19.7 billion in U.S. cash. The money was flown in on C-130 cargo planes, sometimes landing multiple times per day. The official story? These funds were meant to stabilize Iraq, pay civil servants, rebuild infrastructure, support a population ravaged by war. But the process had one glaring flaw. There was zero digital tracking, no serial number scans, no audit trail, no bank wires, just pallets of cash delivered into a war zone and then handed off in backroom meetings in duffel bags. Within months, billions were gone. Not spent, not accounted for, gone. Let that sink in. $19 billion of your tax money was loaded into planes, flown across the world and vanished with no consequences, no prosecutions, not even a coherent explanation. But here's where it gets darker. In 2011, the Pentagon admitted that it could no longer account for over $2.3 trillion in military spending. That number dwarfs the Iraq heist. But the Iraq case is different. It was physical cash. It's not a line item in a spreadsheet. It's something you could hold in your hands, stack on a pallet, and walk away with. And many did. Whistleblowers later revealed that cash was funneled to private contractors, foreign warlords, and insiders. Some of it allegedly went right back to U.S. companies like Halliburton and KBR, who received bloated, no-bid contracts to rebuild what the war destroyed. These contracts were rarely audited. When they were, they revealed staggering overbilling, failed projects, and millions in unaccounted funds. At the center of this storm was Paul Bremer himself. When questioned about the missing billions, Bremer claimed the funds were distributed as needed, and that in the chaos of post-war Iraq, detailed tracking was impossible. But that's not how government accountability works. And yet, he walked away untouched. The Special Inspector General for Iraq Reconstruction, known as SIGIR, was later tasked with investigating the matter. Their findings? Incomplete records, missing invoices, no ability to determine where most of the money ended up. And just like that, the trail went cold. Now here's what they don't want you to realize. This wasn't just wartime sloppiness. This was a blueprint, a stress test, a live demonstration of how physical currency can be weaponized, how economic chaos can be used as a smokescreen for financial extraction on a massive scale. This scandal proves something chilling. When the world is distracted, the elite can move money in total secrecy with full immunity. And this wasn't just a one-off mistake. It fits a pattern. Every major conflict over the past 50 years has included some form of financial manipulation. Hidden contracts, shadow banking, off-book accounting. But Iraq was different in scale, in boldness, and in how openly the money was moved. It also served another purpose. It desensitized the public. Once you realize the government can lose billions in actual cash without consequence, you start to feel powerless, numb. You stop asking questions. And that's exactly how control is maintained. But this story isn't over. Because in a world where central banks are now experimenting with digital currencies, the Iraq cash heist becomes even more relevant. What happens when there are no more pallets? When money is programmable, traceable, and locked into systems controlled by governments or corporations? You can't lose track of digital dollars, not unless the system is designed to let you. This is where the future gets dangerous. The Iraq scandal revealed that when transparency disappears, money flows upward into the hands of those writing the rules. It taught the elite how to strip wealth from a population during crisis, all while appearing to offer aid. And if you think that can't happen again, ask yourself why no one was held accountable. Not one person faced charges. Not $1 was recovered. 19 billion vanished, and the media moved on. This wasn't just a heist. It was a revelation. A reminder that while the public debates politics and watches headlines, the real game is being played behind closed doors. With your money, and with the global economy on edge today, this blueprint may already be in use again. Conflicts are rising. Digital currency infrastructure is expanding, and trillions are moving in the shadows just like before. The question now is simple. If 19 billion in physical cash can disappear during a single war, what do you think they're getting away with today? And here's the most disturbing truth of all. The systems that allowed this theft to happen haven't just gone unpunished. They've been rewarded. The same institutions that lost track of $19 billion are now being trusted to roll out the next global financial framework. The central banks, defense contractors, intelligence agencies, and political figures who stood by during the largest vanishing act in monetary history are now setting the rules for your future money. They're pitching digital currencies as a path to freedom, but they'll come with expiration dates, surveillance layers, and spending controls. They'll tell you it's for your safety, but behind the curtain, it's about tightening the grip. Because once everything is digital, everything is controllable. And that's why the Iraq cash scandal matters more today than it did 20 years ago. It wasn't just about missing money. It was about proving they could get away with it. If they could erase billions in cash without a single consequence, what else have they buried? What else have we already forgotten? If you're done being lied to by the people printing the money, subscribe to Wealth Signal now. Because the next chapter of global finance is already being written, and most will never see it coming. And here's what most people still don't realize. While the Iraq cash scandal faded from the headlines, the mechanisms behind it never stopped evolving. Private defense firms learned how to extract wealth in conflict zones under legal protection. Central banks learned how to operate without transparency under the guise of security. And the global financial elite learned that the average person would never connect the dots because the media would never give them the pieces. Even today, the U.S. government has never officially closed the books on the Iraq cash. FOIA requests are stonewalled, investigative journalists are redirected, and insiders with first-hand knowledge have either disappeared from public view or refused to speak out, but the implications stretch far beyond Iraq. This model of shipping massive funds into unstable regions and redirecting the wealth is now being applied globally through less visible methods: foreign aid laundering, multinational contract siphoning, and digital asset manipulation. If you think digital currencies will fix this, think again. Once your money lives on a blockchain controlled by the same institutions that lost billions in Iraq, you'll have no way to opt out. They'll know where your money is, how you're spending it, and whether you're complying with their policies. They won't need to lose money anymore because they'll control every transaction at the source. That's the end game they've been building toward. If you're done being lied to by the people printing money, subscribe to Wealth Signal now, because the next chapter of global finance is already being written, and most will never see it coming.